Yo, what is going on, YouTube? It is me, your boy Flash Jones, back again with yet another video. And today we're going to talk about roadbed and track. Now, I recorded a video about a week and a half ago. I think it was the 12th, showing you what I did with the cork. So what I'm gonna do for this entire video, I'm gonna show you guys the first video that I shot, because it's pretty much the intro to everything else, and then we'll get into what we're gonna talk about for at least this portion of the video. All right, with that being said, let's jump right on into it. Yo, what is going on, YouTube? I'm just shooting a real quick short video that I will tack on to one of my later videos, just to show you the roadbed, the Midwest Cork roadbed, what it looks like, at least as far as they're on my layout. I'll go into details later on in another video, but I'll just go around the room and show you the lower level of pretty much what it looks like and what I did. Get closer up on it so you can see it. Stand farther back. You admire that curve, see the trains in the back. And we'll get closer up. Now it looks a little messy right now because I had to sand it down, which is what you're supposed to do. So the paint that I painted on is kind of coming off in areas because of sanded. But we'll, like I said, we'll go into depth later on in another video. All I'm doing now is just pretty much showing you what I did, what it looks like, and pretty much it. And then in this final part here, I'm going to show you what it's pretty much going to look like as I paint it. I'll get a little bit on here real quick. Just go over it, just so you can see it. Hopefully I don't drop my phone in this paint. I'll be pissed if I do that. There we go. And now obviously get down in here and do that, but like I said, this is just a little short one just to show you what it looks like. Just give you a small little update, so to say. But today is the 12th of February. I won't add this. I won't upload this video until I do my next layout update. I'll either tack this on in the beginning, or I will tack this on at the very end. We'll just have to see what it is I exactly plan to do. But pretty much, I'll go around the whole layout and do the roadbed, paint it that color. You're probably wondering why it's the same color as everything else, and like I said, we'll go into that later on. But like I said, this is just a real quick, short little video. I'll tack it on later on in another video. Back there in that corner, the whole pile of all the scrap wood that I have. What I'm doing there is, oh, didn't even do that. What I'm doing there is just, I just laid the rest of the roadbed that I have. I'm gonna have two little strips there, but at least to finish off the loop around the room, so to say, I have that now complete as far as it being laid. So it's laid, and I have the liquid nails on there for the glue, and I have these T-pins, I'll show you here, that I've been using to pin them down for the curves and whatnot. Sorry about the glare, but I've been using those to pin it down, and I'm using obviously the scrap excess wood to weigh it down. I know I'm pretty much overboard, but I mean, I only had that area left to do, so I mean, I might as well just put all of it on there. I'll probably move a little bit more of it later on into the night. I don't want it to be too heavy to the point that it's pressing down into the foam and creating a groove or a crevice. I don't want that inconsistency. But when you sand it down, and I'll explain that later on in the video, when you sand it, you pretty much eliminate every issue that you can possibly have. But like I said, we'll talk about that later on. You see the climb there in the background, the road bed in the front, trans in the back a little bit. But like I said, that's it. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Not necessarily how it's done, but just a little show. So that's it. I'll catch up with you guys in the next one. All right, peace. All right, so piggybacking off the last video, the road bed and track. I'm gonna put up the website so you can see where to get it from. Go to trainworld.com. I probably should turn the flash off for this. There we go. That's better. So yeah, so go to trainworld.com. I'll throw the link up in the description. So you got Midwest number 3013 HO Cork RoadBed. You get 25 about 3-foot sections in the box. It's about $28. Pause that, read it for yourself if you want. And then I'm gonna show you the track that I'm using, and then we'll get into the video. So I'm using HO scale Atlas number 400 code 83 Super Flex Track. It's a 30-inch section with concrete ties, $4.25 a piece. So before we get in depth too much, there's one thing I want to show you guys real quick. And I learned this after I laid the entire bottom level. It's okay now, but I'll still show you guys. Hopefully the camera can pick up the differences. It may not be able to. Okay. But when you open a box of cork, when you rip them apart, you have two halves, okay? And the halves are very inconsistent if you put them side by side, which is what these two are right here. See if I can get a better angle on it. I forgot where the center is. Okay. Hopefully you guys can pick that up a little bit. It's not very defined, but pretty much what I'm saying is that this leaves a very coarse, very inconsistent slope for the ballast to kind of cascade off of. So you're going to want to sand it. This piece, however, you don't have to sand it so too much. It's a lot smoother. Sorry. It's a lot smoother. So you don't have to sand this one much, and maybe not even at all. At least on the slants, on the sides of the roadbed. You don't have to do that as much. Obviously, the other side is 100% straight or flat. That's the side. I mean, you're gonna put them side by side with each other. So you don't want that to be. You don't want that to have any sort of angle to them. You want them to be flat so that they butt up right next to each other very easily, which is how they are now. You can barely feel the difference. But on the edges, as you probably already should know, that they have a sort of slant to them. As you can, there's a good shot there. As you can see there. See if I can get that one. That's good too. There you go. So you see how coarse this is here? How very inconsistent that is? And when comparing it to this piece here. Okay. So what I then did is, before I laid the roadbed for the upper level, I took all the roadbed and I ripped them all apart. Okay. I took the 25 sections together and I ripped them all up into 50 pieces, which is, once you rip them up, you have, bisected them and you have equal parts. So what I did is, on the outer or the inner rail, the piece of roadbed, which is the same as this one, at least as far as the smoothness of the slant, I laid the smoother ones on the inside so that when I lay the ballast, I won't have pretty much any issues with it. And then all of the coarse, very inconsistent ones is this one here on the center. These two, this one here. Actually, I got a little pointer. I want to use that. This one here. So this one here is the one that's inconsistent, and so is this one here. And as well as the one on the outside. Why? Because when I ballast, I'm obviously not going to have a camera sitting in this area looking inwards. So I don't really care what the ballast is going to look like over here. I'm not going to see it. No one else is going to see it. Only time I'm going to see it is when I'm probably standing up above the layout, checking it out, whatnot, from a bird's eye view. And that's the only time it's ever going to be seen. So the inside is what you want it to look the best. So I laid the smoothest ones on the inside inner rail, so to say, for the roadbed, and that goes all the way around. For the bottom level, you probably can or you may not be able to tell, but it's back and forth. The smooth one to the inconsistent one, smooth, inconsistent, back and forth, because I didn't peep that, I didn't catch that until I opened up the second box and I started ripping them all up, just so I didn't have to continuously do it. And then I realized that, hey, at least one section of the two is always going to be smooth and the other one's going to be coarse. So I just wanted to share that with you, maybe to save you a little bit more time having to sand, because if not, you're going to have to sand down every section. And if you got a large layout, you might want to have you an energy drink or a couple cups of coffee. So yeah, that's that. And then one more thing, or moving on to say, is I'm using the Atlas number 400 Super Flex Track. Why am I using this, might you add? As you can see by me shaking it like this, no matter what I do to it, it always goes back straight. Okay, so I can curve it, okay, and it'll go back straight. Why is this beneficiary, or what is what I'm looking for? Why is this a good benefit to have, for lack of a better word? Is because when laying a straight track, just for instance, all I have to do, is lay it on there how I want, center it, and then get my yardstick and just butt it up against it and just make sure that it's 100% straight, and that's it. Not much work needed to it at all. Compared to Flex Track, which is, and I'll actually demonstrate this real quick so you really see it. On the backs of the Super Flex Track, as you see the one by my thumb, this one here on the rail closest to the bottom, it's they're cut. So right in here, let me get my little pointer. So, oh, that's a good shot. So right there, you can see that it's cut right there, right there, right there, and it's consistent the entire way. So one rail is always going, at least for the ties, is going to be cut every two ties, which allows it to flex back and forth and be straight once you let it go. The other side, the ties are solid throughout, which means when you lay this track, wherever you're curving, if you're curving to the left, you're going to want that inner rail, that floating rail, so to say, you're going to want that to be on the inside. Why? Because as you curve it, that rail is going to come out a little bit. And this other rail, the out rail, stays perfectly in line. It doesn't go past the ties. It doesn't crawl into the ties. The only reason why it's kind of crawling in now is because it's pulled out on the other side. Like, I'll pull it straight, and then I'll show you again if I can get it in the hole. There we go. So I'll curve it. As you see, the other one, is getting longer, and the outer one stays in its spot the entire time. And I'll go back straight. It stays in its spot when the inner rail flexes and comes out a little bit. That is what makes it easier, at least for me, to make my curves and whatnot, because I don't have to get any fancy little tools to, make my curve completely smooth and sweeping so that there are no kinks. With the Flex Track, with this floating rail, and matter of fact, I'll point this out to you too. If you can see the little divot that they have on the outside, the little nipple that they have poking out, when you curve it, that keeps the spacing between all the ties. So you're never gonna have your ties bunching up like you do with regular Flex Track. With this little nipple that they have poking out on it, it keeps all of the ties spaced correctly. So in between, like say the two that are solid, matter of fact, do I have a piece hanging around somewhere? Yeah, there we go. So for the piece that's the two that are solid, these will obviously never lose gauge. And because of the nipple in between the two, they will always keep their gauge as well because they just push up against each other just like that. You can see? So straight and then pushed up against each other. So they will never lose their gauge. And it, as far as I know, it keeps the track better gauge too, because if they all bunch up close enough, they probably could, probably start pulling each other in the rails if you have a tight enough curve. So that is just a little quick demonstration and explanation of why I'm using the Atlas Superflex, and a little demonstration on at least what I'm doing with my road bed. So after you go ahead and sand down your road bed, then if you're gonna paint them, it would be a good time to paint your road bed then, because when you paint traditionally, you're supposed to sand it and then paint it. But it gives it the sanding gives the paint a nice surface to grab onto, and then like I was explaining in the first part of the video, one reason why I painted the road bed this color is because I want to have my road bed a reddish black gray blend. I want my ballast to be that color. I know a lot of people or a lot of layouts just have the traditional gray ballast. I've seen that a lot. Nothing wrong with it. I just want mine to be different. That's all. So I'm gonna go with like it'd be primarily red and gray, and then like black cinders mixed in there, spaced, however, to give it some different look and maybe more depth, so to say. But that's just what I want to do. And then I painted. I mean, I might as well tell you now. I painted the rest of the layout this reddish color as well, the same color as the road bed, because my scenery is going to be more desert-esque. It's not, in the middle of the desert where there's nothing around, but more of a desert-esque feel. So that's more of the reason why I did paint it. I got the reddish brownish paint, but it'll probably seem a little bit more clear once we get further down the line with the layout and everything starts to come together. You'll see it all, and I think it'll look great. But I mean, hey, that's one of those things where I told you guys before, it's your layout. Do what you want to do. Have fun. That's the number one key. So with that being said, let's move on to where I started to lay my track. So one thing you're gonna need to know, like as I was showing you guys before, this inner rail flexes a little bit. You're gonna have to cut your ties off where you're gonna be soldering your next joint or whatnot, because as you see there, I soldered these two together. One thing you're gonna have to do if you're going to have more than one piece of track for any curve is you're gonna have to solder your track together before you lay the track down as a curve. If not, you're gonna have kinks right in here. And I've already run trains. As you can see, I have feeders going to that track. The outer track is, for the most part, is done, but the inner track, I just laid this one recently. I have to get this one soldered up with feeders, but you're going to have to not necessarily offset them. I don't offset any. This is just how they ended up. This was just the outcome of how they, sorry about that. This is just the outcome of how it ended up happening. I did not purposely try to offset them. I could care less about offsetting. As long as you solder them together as a straight, then you will be perfectly fine. As two straight solid pieces of track, you'll be fine. Once you go into trying to solder them on a curve, you're most likely going to run into some issues. So that's my advice. Take it or leave it. I mean, it's up to you. If you mess up, that's probably why. If you have kinks in your curves, that's probably why. But yeah, you always, I mean, that's a rule of thumb for pretty much laying any kind of track. If you're gonna have a joint between two tracks on a curve, you're gonna want to solder them together before you lay them down, and then try to solder it. So that's what I'm doing. Over here on this side, remember I told you guys that I was gonna have signals running around the layout. So right in here, let me get down in here, move this number 8. So right here, as you can probably see, yeah, I have the insulating rail joiners right here. And why do I have it here? And like I said, I'm gonna have signals. So this is gonna be a block. I'm sorry, this will be a block, and this will be a block, and vice versa. Block here and block here. So we total 4 blocks right in here. Directly to where we were just standing at, pretty much on the other half of the wall, and we'll go around and take a look. Right over here, where it's kind of messy at, where you see I have all these, I wrote everything down, crossovers must end. The crossovers will be pretty much right here in the center where this white line is. And if you're wondering how I was able to do that, at Home Depot, picked this up. It's a Sharpie. It's an oil-based Sharpie, which pretty much means you can write on anything with it. It's the bold one. I had some medium base, so some medium point ones, and they were horrible. So I took them back and I got the bold one, and it's been working perfectly fine. I've been able to write perfectly without any issues and whatnot. And so I've been writing my notes down on the layout, and obviously I'll paint over it or ballast over it when that time comes. But I'll have crossovers here, more signals will be over here. I have a left-hand turnout that'll be there, that'll goes to the yard, and then there'll be a right-hand turnout right there where it says number 4 on the roadbed, right there. That'll be going to the other end of the yard. And pretty much the same thing for the top level. We'll talk more about the top level later on. Half the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I wanted to show the finished product, so to say, of the bottom level once it was sanded and painted and with a little bit of track. And then I wanted to show you the upper level just as a little layout update of where I'm at now. And then actually right about now, once I finish this video, I'm going to paint this upper level now, and then put the rest of the road bed down, and we'll be pretty close to running trains. All right, I'll catch you guys up in the next one. We're going to have some fun, run trains. Happy belated Valentine's Day. Hope you guys had fun. And deuces, be safe. It's your boy Flash Jones. I'm out. Oh yeah, one more thing. Follow me on Instagram at the Train Guy, THETRAIN 28. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Wow. The Train Guy 28. THETRAINGUY 28. And why is that? Because on that page, I will always post like sneak peeks, preview, so to say, of the layout, when the next video might be coming up, and just like kind of heads up kind of things if you're interested in that. If not, then hey, more power to you. But that's it for this video. I'll catch up with you guys in the next one. All right, man. Peace.